To add a new slide in your carousel web part, you want to make sure you have the page in edit mode, which we do, and you'll see an add slide icon right here at the top. Once you click the button, a pop-up form titled Add New Slide appears. Once you fill in this form and save it, it will display your newly created slide on the home page. Aside from adding a picture or video to your carousel slide, there's a number of other fields here that we need to populate. I've gone ahead and added test content, but let's start from the title. The title field will be the name of your slide, which will be the biggest text displayed on the web part for your content. The summary field is for adding a brief description of the news or event that the user is adding to the carousel. The description field is where the user can add a detailed description of the content that is being added to the carousel. To add content here, click the little pencil icon, and a rich text editor box will pop up, and you can fill your own description here. As you can see, there are a lot of options for customizing your data related to the slide here, such as format, font changes, and the ability to add hyperlinks, pictures, and embed videos as well. But right now, I'll just keep a simple text and we'll save. We also have the publish at date. This field is a mandatory field that auto-populates to the current date when you're trying to create a slide. This is the date when your slide will be published. If you leave it at the defaulted date, then it will publish to the site today. If you change it for the future, it will not show until that day starts. The unpublish at date, this field is optional, and you can select a date for when you would like your post to be unpublished from the site. When this happens, it will be archived in a backend list, so it will not delete your post when it gets unpublished from the site, but it will be taken down. Once you fill all this out, we can go ahead and hit save. And now you can see our test slide is in action.
Here we have our image, we have our title, our summary, and to view your description, you just want to click on this View More button. So I can go ahead and right-click that just to open a new tab for you so we don't lose our spot. And here it is in the description. 1 second. Okay, so there's not much content that I added, but this is what it would look like. Your title, your thumbnail, the summary, and then your description would follow. And if you get really creative with it, then you can change the font size and add colors and embed images, whatever you need to, if it requires that much additional information. Or you can even copy and paste from another source if you'd like to. So now editing the slide, if you need to, navigate using these arrows, and we can just go to the pencil icon here, and I can just remove the word slide, and I can save. And now you'll see in real time that it changed it to just test. So that's adding and editing your slides. And to delete, we would just click the trash can icon here and delete the slide. So now it's gone. If you would like to, you can also edit your web part, and there's some features there. So in general settings, you can change the number of items you want to see on the screen. You have infinity loop, which means it'll just loop through all the time. You have these dots that can be shown down here if you have that activated, the next and previous buttons. Pretty much all your general navigation through the carousel are these settings here. And if you go to the next page, you have the choice of autoplay to be on, and you can control the autoplay speed. And you also have the option to stop the autoplay if you hover over either the slide or the dots right here. And the pause and hovering dots is turned off at the moment, but that's okay. And then you can also start, and you can choose the start position of your slide. So we have 3 slides right here. So you could just choose which position you'd want the slide to display in first when the page loads. And then every web part has a view options setting. So here you can select the option that you can edit and add content to the web part. So either you can do it in only edit mode, only preview mode, or both. You can edit in edit mode and preview modes. So basically, if I were to check both in edit and preview modes, which I will right now, then I'll go ahead and just exit out of here. There's no save button, so you can just exit, and then we can republish. And so now that it's an edit and preview mode where I can manage the content, as you can see here, without being in edit mode on the page, we have the add slide option, as well as the pencil and trash can, and these arrow buttons. So I have all the normal options that I have here to just quickly add or edit content without having to hit the edit button. So that's it for the carousel. So now we can move on to the alert bar. The alert bar, you can have multiple alerts, and it scrolls through when you have multiple alerts, as you just saw there. And you can see their different colors, and they have different symbols. So the colors and the symbols are actually from the different type of category or severity of your alert. And depending on which type of alert you select, it'll have a different color or a different symbol. So I'll go ahead and edit the page again so we can add a new alert. And this is pretty much just for notifying, kind of like a friendly reminder for your employees, so they can kind of just see a glance at something important to catch their eye. So let's say we want to add a new alert. So we'll go ahead and click Add New Alert. We can do Test Alert. The category, we'll go ahead and do Success. And description, some alerts you might not have a description for, but if you do have some backup information you'd like people to be able to see, you can just click this pencil icon. It's a rich text editor just like the carousel. So and you can embed hyperlinks in here. So if you have some information you want to provide a link to another site, then you could provide a hyperlink there. You have a lot of options here in the description part of the alert bar. So I'll go ahead and save. And then we have the published and unpublished dates. These fields work the same as they did for the carousel. So you can select when you want this to go live and when you'd like it to be pulled down from the site. But since we're just doing a quick test and we don't really care for it to be pulled down automatically, I'm just going to go ahead and delete it. So we'll save this. And I'm going to go ahead and republish the page so we can actually see the arrow here. So when people come to your site and they aren't editing the page, they can see this little arrow where they can click and they can get more description of the alert. And you can also click and click to drag the alerts to change which alert you're showing. So here's the alert we just created. I can click this arrow and we can see the description here as well. So let me edit the page again. If you need to edit your alert, you can hover over it and you'll see a pencil icon where you can easily just change some information right here and resave. But let's just go ahead and delete the alert that we just created. Okay, so we also have a pencil icon here on the side so we can edit the alert web part. So we have some features and some options where you can have it autoplay and you can change the autoplay speed in these slider properties here. And that's in milliseconds, so you can control like how fast or slow you'd like it to scroll through all of your alerts. Okay. Next web part we have is the tiles web part. The tiles web part is for navigating to tools or features or other sites for your employees. So on page, generally you'll have useful tools for people, such as like policies and procedures, employee directory, things you see here. The departments, when you get level, it might be a little more specific based on your plan for your department. So you may have more document libraries and more collaboration areas for file uploading. But so for here, we can go to policy management. I'll go ahead and open that in a new tab. The employee directory. We'll also do policies and procedures. So, okay. So we have the employee directory and policies and procedures. So here you have a view where you can see all of your employees in your organization. It's pulls from AD. So you'll have other accounts, including real people or accounts that may be kind of test accounts in a way. So any valid account in AD will be pulled through in here, but we have filters for that to filter them out. So, but if you're just looking for someone specific, you can search in the search bar and it will auto-populate while you type. You don't have to hit enter or anything like that. And then we also can filter through job titles, locations, and departments. And if you want to reset your filter, you can just click the reset filter and it'll go back to looking at everybody. So that's just a way to come to see if you're looking for someone that might be in a certain branch or certain department. You need to grab their phone number or grab their email. You can come and find that easily. You can also, if you have the permissions web part. And then we can click the pencil icon. We'll have options to, right now you have the list view, we have detailed, we have text only, and there's even photo only if that interests you. We can just go back to text where it was. You can change how many employees are showing per page, but we're just going to go to here. So here we can kind of select what field should show up for the employees. So I can remove phone number. As you can see in real time, it just removed the phone number. So things like that. And if you go next, you can go to the employee directory view, and you can exclude employees if they don't have a certain field populated. So this is how you dummy users or test users that you have here because they're not working with your company anymore, or they're not valid. In AD, you can kind of control their properties. So if you wanted to filter people out that don't have a department, then you just make sure that all your valid employees have a department populated in their Active Directory, and then you can filter them out by selecting the department filter here. So just some options you can clean up your employee directory. But so I'll go ahead and republish the page. It's always important to republish the page when you're done, because if you do not, then it can cause some issues with somebody else that might be trying to edit the same page as yourself. So exit out here. Okay, so here we have policies and procedures. Here it's important, this is a nice place where you can upload documents, and you'll be able to view your documents here. You can also search for documents. So if I do start typing in, and it kind of narrows down the search results depending on how much I type. You can also filter through all your documents by selecting whether it's a policy or a procedure. So I can select procedures and it filters it out, or I can select policy and I'll filter out those policies. I also have the ability to filter out based on tags. You can clear it whenever. So to add a document, you just simply click the add document, and then we can go to select file, and then you can go to a test document. You can upload a test document. Then you'd enter, let's say, I'll just make it test document. Enter the category. We'll make this a policy. Tag, let's do team building exercises. So the way the tags work, it's built off a default term list in the term store. It's in the back end. And if you need to, this list can be updated, but it has a lot of terms related to multiple different types of department fields. So you should be able to find what you want, but if you can't find a specific tag related to your document, then we can help you with making that specific to your needs. But we'll just select team building exercises and we'll save. And that's just doing that is how simple it is to just upload your documents, and there you'd be able to filter out your document from whatever you need to do. So we also have the employee handbook. So this is just ideas for what you can link your tiles to. So if you might not know exactly what to link your tiles to in your departments, these are just kind of ideas for you in case you need some inspiration. So you have the time off request, your org chart. You can link an org chart to a PDF if you need to, or we have our own org chart feature as well. So I think this is loading the org chart. Our org chart populates from Active Directory. So if your Active Directory is all up to date with who's a manager and who's their subordinate and kind of who they report to, and you have that chain of command laid out in your Active Directory, then this would be kind of a good feature for you to have if you would like. We can simply just add it to a page, and we can link it to a tile easily. It also works for web part for departments, so you can add this web part for each department that you have and make it department specific and filter out only people for that department as well as for locations. And you can scroll through here and you can easily just kind of minimize certain branches and expand them. But that is the org chart feature that we do offer as well. So if you're interested in that, we could easily add that. So let's go over just adding a tile. So if you want to add a tile, you just click add tile. And then if you want to do, let's make this a link to, let's make this a link to a document library. So first, I'm actually going to want to grab the URL from a document library. So we'll go to Site Contents. So to do that, let's go to this gear item and go to Site Contents. And this just lists out all the lists and libraries related to the site that you're in. So I'm in the home page, so this is everything that's related to the home page right now. So I'm going to just take a link of this quick downloads document library right here. And all I have to do is grab the URL at the top, copy it. This is the document library I want our new tile to take us to. So I copied the URL, so I can just exit this now, go back to the home page, and we can start adding the tile. So I'll go ahead and add the tile. We'll call this Quick Downloads because the document library's name is Quick Downloads. We're going to select our link, do the From a Link option. You could also do it through here. So here's Quick Downloads. I could have selected it that way. But sometimes you may have a library or an item that might not exist in your document library section, or it might exist in another site. So I could link a library from the marketing department if I wanted to a tile on the homepage. So this is just if you want to quickly grab it, you can. But we're just going to do the From a Link option, and I'll paste it in there, and I'll go ahead and hit Open. So now we have it active, which is what we want. So we want it to show. You can change the color to any type of color you'd like, or you can enter a hex value or RGB values. And then we'll go ahead and change the icon if you'd like. And the icon, it's a huge list of SharePoint default icons here. I'll just go ahead and pick a random one. But also, if you want to, you can search different words and different items will pop up. Okay, and display order. So the lowest number in your display order will show up as the first item of the tile, I mean. And the higher the number, the later in the list it will display. So if I make this 50, this should be one of the last tiles that are listed out. So let's go ahead and hit save. Or actually, I'll open a new tab as well. So if you want to click on it and open you in a new tab, then you would want to make sure you check this. So go ahead and hit save. And there we have it for our new tab. And if I click, it opens in a new tab directly to that Quick Downloads document. So now to edit a tile, you just want to hover over it while in edit mode on the page, and you'll see a pencil icon that you can click, and you can change any of these details here, save it, and it'll update live. But right now we're just going to delete this. Deleting a tile too doesn't actually delete the content it's associated to. If I delete this tile, I'm not actually deleting that document library. That Quick Downloads document library still exists. And if you edit the tiles web part, you have some features. You can do bordered, which looks like this, or you can do solid. To control the number of items that exist in a row. So I can make it by 3, by 4, by 5. You can kind of just change out how you'd like to do that. Okay. And we have news and announcements. I'll go ahead and click into one of these to show you what it looks like. So you'll have similar to the carousel, but you'll have a title, a summary, your thumbnail, and then your description. And you can embed images, videos, hyperlinks, all in your description as you need to. So this is a perfect example of a well-built out article. We have bullets on the side here. So that's just a good example. So we can go ahead and add news. My example probably won't be as robust as that, but it'll get the job done and just showing how to just at least create a news article. So we'll just do test article. To select your image, it's the same way as selecting the image for the carousel. You have the option through the site, through a link, or uploading directly from your computer. I'll just select one from the site right here, and I'll hit open. And so we have a summary. I'll just do test summary. So field's pretty similar to the carousel. I'll make this featured news, and if you want your news article icon, I'm be familiar with this now. It's just the editor. So this is the test. Right, published date, unpublished date work the same as they do for the alert bar and the carousel. So we're just gonna go ahead and save with no unpublished date. Made it a prominent article. Go ahead and open. It takes us to a news details page, and so on the hand side we can actually see. So we get a choice to make it featured or not. Out in this little here. The purpose of this is so you can click through other articles without having to go back and forth to the home to look through other articles. So if you wanted to edit your news, we could just click the pencil icon, or we can just delete it, which is what we're going to do. And so we have some options. If we edit the web part here, you can make it a list view, which lists them out like this all the way across, or the tile, which you can view all items, so all the possible news that exist, but we're not going to do that. And you can control the number of items that should show up on a page, but you can control how many you'd want to have. And you have news on. Then we have the web part. So here, if you click in here, it should be a page where we will have our social media feeds embedded into our site. So we have Twitter, Facebook. Let's scroll through here. We have so if you need us to integrate any social media items. Then we have Let's Celebrate. Celebrate is a web part that pulls from the SharePoint user profile. So it'll pull for, the hire date and birthday of the SharePoint user profiles. These doesn't map those fields to Active Directory, so you'd have to go into their individual SharePoint user profile, date, hire date, or birthday, or we would provide a web part view that have users update their content themselves in this site with a little small pop-up that gives them the ability to quickly enter their, save it, and then that web part that lets them update their information will disappear. So that's an option that we provide as well. So and this is what it looks like too. It'll display births, anniversaries. It won't tell you, how old the person turns, but I'll say the date and the name. But anniversaries, it will say how many years they have worked there. Then we have events. The events web part is associated to a calendar. And so if you want to add an event to that calendar or to this web part, you'd come to the web part and just hit add event. Then we would go to title and let's do test event. And so we have the start date to be the 26th, end date still the 26th. And you can add a location if you'd like to, or just some text, or we have some default categories to choose from if you'd like to select a category. And we have a description box if you want to add a lot of content related to the event. Maybe if it's like a party, you could add almost like a flyer in this description panel because it's a rich text editor, so you can have images and links, so you could make it all nice and neat looking for the special event or holiday. But we're just going to leave that blank so it's not required, and hit save. Okay, let me refresh the page. Let me try that again real quick. It seemed like it got hung up. Okay. All right. So if we wanted to add that, that's how we do it. And then we have where we can add or remove tools to our views. So I can click add, and I'll be able to add tools to our view like so. And if I want to remove these tools from my view, I can go ahead and hit remove. And this is only related to my specific view. It's not related to anybody else's. So the beauty of my tools is you personal view and tools that are related to you. If you need to add new tools, you can go add tool, type a name. So we could do a URL. Oops. Add tool or icon image, so we can just add an image directly here from the site, from a link or an upload. We'll just add a random image here. Okay, and we'll select the group. You have different groups here that you can create, so you can organize your tools. We'll just do IT. The color, that's just the border of the tool you can change, and default. So you can make a tool default or not. So if it's default, that means it forces everyone to have it in their own personal view. If not, then they have the choice to add or remove it from their personal view. So we're going to not make it default. Go ahead and hit save. And I can go in, find Google, add it to my view, and now we should see Google right here. I can click on it, and it takes me to Google. All right, so if you want to remove or delete a tool totally, you can go to Google and hover over and delete, and then we can delete that tool right there. You also have the ability to add a group, so if you want to add more organizational groups here, you can just click add group, enter the name, and it'll squeeze that group in here alphabetically. That is how to use all of our web parts, how to add, edit, and remove content, just to make sure that you're using these tools to their full capacity, that you're clear on everything. All right, thank you very much for joining, and we'll talk to you later.